Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I wanted to talk a little bit about HR 4366. That is the bill that passed the House not long ago, back on the 27th, I believe. And again, that's House of Representatives HR 4366, the Military Construction, Veterans Affairs, and Related Agencies Appropriation Act. Now, I did a video on it that got passed, but now here's the little kicker. We do have the White House, President Biden, stating that he plans and stands ready to veto that piece of legislation. So what I wanted to do here was give a little snapshot on what was in that bill, and then read the White House's kind of stance on it as well a little bit. So I'm not going to read the full articles. I'm just going to kind of skim through them here real quick for you. So bear with me. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. All right, so as it comes to the HR 4366, that did pass the House, which is great. So the measure was approved with a vote 219 to 211, and this was for $317.441 billion in funding for the Department of Defense, Military Construction, Family Housing, and the Department of Veterans Affairs and Related Agencies. Out of this, it honors their commitment to veterans by fully funding veterans' health care programs and fully funding veterans' benefits and VA programs, including the Electronic Health Record Modernization Initiative. It supports a strong national security by providing nearly $800 million above the President's budget request for military construction, focusing on investments in the Pacific Theater, barracks, and other quality of life projects, and realignment of and maintaining two provisions prohibiting the closure or realignment of Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Also, and here's the piece that the administration is not pleased about, from my understanding. And what we're looking at here is everything dollars and cents wise is being given as requested or higher, which should have given us a nice green light to fully fund the VA and $800 million above for the military construction stuff. So we had the green light. The point of contention here is this third bullet point, and I'm reading this on the Appropriations website from the chair of the Appropriations Committee. And this third bullet here states, focuses that this bill 4366 focuses the executive branch on its core responsibilities by including new provisions prohibiting funds to lobby Congress, promote or advance critical race theory, and carry out divisive executive orders. So with that, that's kind of the bill in a snapshot. I mean, there's obviously so much more in it, but I just wanted to give you, again, a quick down and dirty on that. Then what we have is, here we have, sorry, I'm bouncing around here. All right, let me open this up for you. The White House, their own, I guess, statement. Now, this statement came out prior to the approval of 4366. So before it got approved from the House, the White House was already anticipating its approval and sent its opposition in a statement. So I want to read some of this to you. This came out on July 24th, 2023, and it is directly from the Executive Office of the President, Office of Management and Budget, and it is a statement of administration policy and referencing HR 4366. Again, this is the piece of legislation that just passed the House, the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs and Related Agencies Appropriation Act of 2024. So, again, from my understanding, it gives $800 million in excess for military construction and fully funds the VA, which are the two main components of this bill. So let's read into what the White House's statement is here. The administration strongly opposes House passage of H.R. 4366, making appropriations for military construction, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and related agencies for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024. September 30th, 2024, and for other purposes. In May, the administration negotiated in good faith with the Speaker on bipartisan legislation to avoid a first-ever default on and protect the nation's hard-earned and historic economic recovery. The negotiation resulted in the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023, which passed with overwhelming bipartisan support and set spending levels for fiscal year 2024 and 2025. The agreement held spending for non-defense programs roughly flat with a fiscal year 2023 levels, a compromise that protected vital programs Americans rely on from draconian cuts House Republicans proposed. The agreement also protected historic legislation accomplishments from the past 2 years, including the Inflation Reduction Act, honoring our PACT Act of 2022, CHIPS and Science Act, and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. House Republicans had an opportunity to engage in a productive bipartisan appropriation process, but instead, with just over 2 months before the end of the fiscal year, are wasting time with partisan bills that cut domestic spending to levels well below the FRA agreement and endanger critical services for the American people. These levels would result in deep cuts to climate change and clean energy programs, essential nutrition services, law enforcement, consumer safety, education, and healthcare. These bills include billions in additional recessions, from the IRA and other vital legislation that would result in unacceptable harm to clean energy and energy efficiency initiatives that lower energy costs and critical investments in rural America. The draft bill also include numerous new partisan policy provisions with devastating consequences, including harming access to reproductive health care, threatening the health and safety of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex Americans, endangering marriage equality, hindering critical climate change initiatives, and preventing the administration from promoting diverse equity and inclusion. The administration stands ready to engage with both chambers of the Congress in a bipartisan process to enact responsible spending bills that fully fund federal agencies in a timely manner. If the president were presented with H.R. 4366, he would veto it. And that is just part. I mean, it goes on. There's a couple paragraphs on the Department of Defense stuff. There's a few paragraphs on Department of Veterans Affairs stuff, and as well as some other concerns. So, but what I wanted to leave you at was this basically states that if the president were presented with H.R. 4366, he would veto it, and it's underlined. It's really one of the only underlined sentences in this statement. And again, if you'd probably just Google searched Executive Office of the President, Statement of Administration Policy, July 24th, you would find this executive statement. So with that, we'll go ahead and leave you there. My question now is, we have legislation that fully funds VA. We have legislation that fully funds and goes over the amount for requested amount by almost $1 billion for military construction. Is this going to get kicked back, and what kind of repercussions are we going to see? With that, we'll go ahead and leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.